Hey, it's B-Rad Celebrity Hairstylist here, your host of the Hairstylist Empowerment Podcast, a platform that allows the voices of the beauty industry to empower with the spoken word. I want to thank you for joining us on today's show. We're currently on over 50 plus podcast platforms, including Amazon Music, Audible, and Spotify, all thanks to you. So welcome to today's episode of the Hairstylist Empowerment Podcast. So today's guest, their mission at the Braiding Summit is to empower and elevate braiders by providing a collaborative platform for skill enhancement, fostering creativity, and promoting inclusivity within the braiding community. They aim to share knowledge, inspire confidence, and celebrate with diverse artistry of braiding professionals everywhere. So I want to welcome Tia, the founder, and Jamie, the co-founder of the Braid Summit, to the Hairstylist Empowerment Podcast. So I'll bring you guys up onto the screen here. So welcome.
Hello.
so if you can, so if you guys can just kind of introduce yourselves, give a short, little brief introduction, and then we'll kind of dive into today's show.
Hello, I'm Tia. I'm Tia of the Braid Summit. So, as Brad said, I'm the co-founder there. And I also run a professional braiding business called Braids by Tia. I've been in business for about 4 years now.
Hi, my name is Jamie. Well, Jim Setup, but you can call me Jamie. I also am a co-founder of the Braid Summit alongside with Tia. I have a braiding professional business as well. I have been in business for about 5 years or more.
That's amazing. So I'm sure that there's a lot of people going to be interested today because braiders isn't really a topic. We talk a lot about hair, we talk a lot about color, we talk a lot about balayage, we talk a lot about that, but not many talk about braiding, or they're scared to braid, or they don't know how to braid, or should I be a braider? What's it all about? So we're going to kind of jump in a little bit with you, Tia, first, and then we'll have Jamie kind of step in a little bit. As we go along with today's kind of conversation. So you really took like a leap of faith. So what was going through your mind when you made the decision to quit your retail job? So did you have a plan, or was it truly a leap into the unknown?
It was definitely a leap into the unknown. I had been working in my prior career for 13 years. And like you said, it was retail. So kind of after, our time and experience with COVID, it just became a place I didn't want to be anymore. Quitting was actually my birthday present to myself. um, However, I did not have a concrete plan when I quit. Actually, getting back into doing hair was kind of like my stepping stone, or so I thought. Just until I figured out what I wanted to do. I am cosmetology licensed, so I did go to school, but I went back in 2010. And hadn't done a lot of hands-on like hair or working in a salon over that period of time. It was just very sporadic. And once I quit my job, I said, well, you know what? I do have this gift. I'll lean on that until I decide what my next step is. And I started and just kind of fell in love with the field all over again. So saw so many opportunities just for like expansion and growth, and it became exciting again. So what I thought was a stepping stone was actually the next step.
Exactly. Sometimes the stepping stone is a cornerstone. So you never know how it's you're going to turn. So for you, Jamie, what really made you want to be a braider?
Um, I think it was just something that was just on my mind consistently. I also did retail. I was in visual merchandising was my career field. And at that time, I was doing well in my career path, but I just more so felt like I wanted to do something else. I wanted to do something more, something that I probably would enjoy a lot more. And I always felt like it was here, it was braiding. I'm not really sure why, but I always had that feeling, that inkling. So I just worked towards it. Same thing. I started working for a company, and then at the time, I started doing here. So I would do both, and I gave myself a path. I was like, 2 years, I'll be able to leave this job and go into this field more full time, and that's what essentially I end up doing.
So for both of you, how did this braiding experience kind of shape your decision to start something on your own?
I mean, it was definitely because, with my background and things that I've done, um, it was still kind of hard to get started. Like once I decided, like, okay, we're here now, and this is what we're going to do. Just kind of getting information to actually get started, to understand how to actually run a business. Like it's different when I was doing it on the side, and it was just a side hustle, a side job.
Mhm.
But once I decided to take it on full on, there was a lot of things that I needed to incorporate in order to do that successfully. And just coming across the information or the resources seemed to be like pulling teeth. And I did have a hair education, and I did work in retail and understand, have some understanding about books and numbers and how to do things. However, it was still such a challenge for me. It just made me think, it got to be other people going through this hardship as well.
Exactly. And how about you, Jamie, for yourself? How did you find like like doing the braiding and then say to go out on your own or try something new, you know? How was
Same,
that experience for you?
uh, same thing. I just had a vision for something I wanted to do, and like Tia, it was through my experiences facing difficulties. Like it's information out here, but people hold it so tight, and you just don't know. You don't know where to go. You don't know where to turn. Even basic things like when you get into entrepreneurship, healthcare, balancing your books, taxes, and I was just like, wow, like if I'm going through this, I
Mhm.
Yeah.
because I'm like, why is this so difficult? And you meet other professionals who have been doing this for about 10 or more years, who are successful in their fields, and they
Mhm.
just also seem to not really have a great direction, path, anything that you can take. It's just kind of like, well, my situation is different, or I lucked up and this is it. It's no real path or steps. So I was like, just thinking about that, going through the struggles around it, I end up I end up taking like not classes, but they were, oh, I have a brain freeze on that thought.
Like
Like
webinars,
workshop.
seminars,
No, not webinar.
trainings.
I connected with you, Tia.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like workshops, like kind of entrepreneur empowership type workshops.
I
Mhm.
started those workshops. And through that, I was expressing not only my frustration on where I was, I also expressed my desire to create something like this. And that's how I end up being connected to Tia.
Yeah, and that's a thing I think a lot of times when say you guys went from braids to business, a lot of people really don't know what it takes. They think, "Hey, I can just open up a braid shop and I'm going to make all kinds of money." But they
Yeah,
don't reach out, they don't do networking, they don't do connecting, they don't find people, they don't take workshops, they don't do any business classes, they don't do and what we're going to talk about coming up a little bit later in the show, but like the Braid Summit, like where do people go to find out what they need to know? And the bonus of training with both of you is that you've already been on this learning curve. You've
yeah,
already gone from I'm just going to start to be a braider to now I'm a business owner, and what it all kinds of takes in there. And one kind of thing, and to say like the spirit, and a lot of people go by faith, but there's a message in the church, and I think Tia said this. So when you received your message, you are ready, and that specific call to action, did it feel surreal? And how did you experience your impact on your approach to your next steps? So when you're there and you're like, you get a calling and it's like, this is what you need to do. So
yeah.
whether we hear an inaudible voice, we hear a feeling, something pulling on our heartstrings. For both of you, did you have any apprehension about starting or going forward, or you're just like, I'm gonna jump in and it
Honestly,
make
Brad,
it
for
happen.
me, I think it was the first time in my life that I've
Mhm,
ever just leaped without the fear of doing it. Like it was
mhm,
probably the first time. Now, once I got started, I had some of those thoughts like, oh, did I make the right decision? Am I really going to be able to sustain myself and my family? Um, because you hear about droughts or slow periods. You hear about how hard it can be to build your clientele. And, fortunate for me, it was the first time I took a leap and I had very little experience with those things. But it was like a net. Like this, I'm at the other job and I was actually very good at what I do, but it just felt like it wasn't it. This wasn't it. And so when I did get the message, I'm like, well, it's no coincidence that I feel like this so strong and I also feel like this so strong. And what's the worst that could happen? I could always go back. Like if it didn't
Exactly.
work out, I
Yeah.
could
And if you
always
don't,
go back.
and that's exactly it. If you don't step out, you don't know. And it could be great. So with you, Jamie, did you kind of have a voice? Did you think it's my head saying, hey, I should do this? Was it other people telling you, hey, you should have a braid business? You're so good. you know?
For me, it was me. This path, this journey has really just been me and my own incline, my faith. I just had a strong feeling in my mind. I mean, I talked about it consistently at all my jobs that I was like, oh, this is what I'm going to do. This is
Yeah.
what I want to do. So when I essentially started, and I just full throttle. I leaped in. I didn't look back. I actually had people around me that was like, I don't know. Is this, do you want to do more? Like, how are you going to do those? Like, what are you going to do? And I was just like, I'm like, when you think about it, when you calculate how much you make an hour, I only have to make this amount, to be
Mhm.
able to realistically sustain myself. And
Yes.
COVID really helped with that. COVID let me kind of pre-test and let me see that I could live off of this and I could do better with this.
Mhm.
So post
Absolutely.
I was like, yeah, I'm done. I'm just gonna go
Yeah.
jump in. Yeah.
Well, and sometimes you have to because not everybody can survive on minimum wage working for someone else, and especially too if you're trying to balance work, family life, home life, it can be a lot. And there's also a lot of challenges and stuff. That's a question we'll kind of ask just after this one though, but you recently had an event, you put out a flyer and then people actually wanted to come. So
Yeah.
how did that feel? Like, is this real? Is this happening? We put this flyer out now? Oh no, people want to come. What do we do?
I
Well,
mean, oh, you can speak, Jane. Go ahead.
I mean, it was a good feeling. It was a very anxious and like, this is something for me, especially this is new. I've never done any form of event planning, organizing or gathering people for something, outside of like your birthday.
Mhm.
So it was like it felt very like jitteries at the time. I'm like, oh my God, we have to go ahead, we have to sell these tickets, we have to go ahead and speak to people, we got to get the word out there, we have to promote. But essentially it ended up being a blessing. It ended up being a really good thing. It was a really need for it in the community. We had a
Mhm.
lot of excitement, a lot of great feedback. Even now, people that are like excited for the next event, that's like I think essentially the tone in the braiding community, we all agree that there is a lack of information, there is a lack of guardianship and resources, or that we can just find and go to. And I feel like us being a funnel for that is exciting for people. And they want to be a part of it. They want to learn more.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think it is too. Like, I think initially people say, like, are the people going to come? What if we fail? But I think what's worse is what if we succeed?
Yeah.
Because that's almost even worse than failing. I
Yeah.
think sometimes people can handle failure better than they can handle success
Yeah.
Yeah.
because, oh, now we got to do it again. People came, they loved it. Now we got to do it again.
That's when you
Yes. Yes.
yeah.
Sort of thing. So, but there's also like challenges and that sort of thing as well. Um, so, so struggling to, like you said, struggling to find reliable information, resources. What were some of the biggest obstacles you faced and how did you overcome them? Like with putting your summit together, like making sure you had um, the right content, the right mix of social and your models and things like that. Did you have any challenges when you're kind of putting it together, especially too because it's like, okay, we put the flyer out, people are coming now, what kind of things did, or everything just flowed naturally and you had no issues at all?
I mean, uh, I feel like our problems were very like small and normal problems. Um, because the biggest thing is that we are a very new organization. And then we're exclusively focusing on a lane that you don't hear most people like, typically hair is clumped into one big category.
Yes.
um and now is even still kind of newer to the beauty industry that is actually a lane. So
Hmm.
outside of the people who are professional braiders, just kind of bringing awareness and making sure people understand what our actual mission is. Like, we're not a braiding class, like we're not
Hmm.
necessarily, and we may do demonstrations, but our focus isn't to teach people how to braid.
Hmm.
Is more so delving into the actual profession of it all, and just kind of making people understand and really get the mission would probably be like the biggest hurdle. But for those that get it, they get it. And so that part of it has been very easy. So, gaining awareness and anything with any new startup, that's a part
Hmm.
of what has to be done. So I would say, to me anyway, that's been our biggest challenge so
Yeah,
far.
and I think that's where, people are at. They need to know, you don't know what you don't know until you know it, sort of thing. So,
Yeah.
Tia, let's talk a little bit about meeting your co-founder. So, how did you meet Jamie, and what clicked in your relationship, and that made you realize that you could build something together?
So actually, a friend of mine, went to a workshop that Jamie was at, and I had been talking about these ideas around the Braid Summit probably since I started. And I said, you know what, this is going to be the year. I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to do it. Well, a close friend of mine went to a workshop and met Jamie, and
Okay.
she came back to me and she said, Tia, I met a girl at this event, and she sounded a lot like you, like the things that you want to do and the things that you have planned and kind of want to bring to light. She was talking about the same thing. I really think you guys should connect. So she did the footwork and got Jamie's contact information for me. And because my mind was in such a go mode, I wasted no time. I think I got Jamie's number on a Tuesday and I called her that Wednesday.
I got to grab this girl now.
and
So,
and right away we just clicked. Right away we
yeah.
we sorted our vision aligned, that we did have a lot of the same ideas. We shared some of the same obstacles in our own personal businesses, and surprisingly it was very easy. Which is crazy because essentially she was a stranger and we literally united for this purpose. So
Mhm.
it's actually been very easy. We work really good together, so it's been good.
No, that's amazing. So, Jamie, would you agree that's kind of how it happened?
Yeah.
You're like, no, I saw everything different.
No, it happened like that. Happened quick. It happened very organically. And like she said, I remember the first time she called me, I was just like, oh, okay. Because sometimes people will be like, oh, I'm gonna connect you with someone, but it just
Mhm,
stays there. So when she called me, I was a little surprised. But
mhm.
she was just so energetic. She was up ready. And I was just like, okay, I'm on board. We're like,
So,
okay, this is what we're gonna do this week, and then we're gonna meet next week, and we're gonna go over it, and that's essentially how it went.
and bang, and then the Braid Summit happened. So, I'm going to ask both of you, what is the Braid Summit?
So, did you want to answer, Jamie? I know
You,
I've been kind of like jumping out there.
oh, you can.
Okay, so basically, around the Braid Summit, our mission is to educate, enhance, and empower other breeders. Our overall mission is just to create a community, like to create a platform where, whether you've been braiding for 15 years and just trying to get with the new wave of things, or you're a new up and coming
Mhm,
breeder, aspiring to be, you have somewhere to go, where the information is there, where you can relate and talk to people who are going through or have gone through some of your same struggles. So overall, we're just building a community for people who do what we do.
mhm,
And also to piggyback off of that is also a space to kind of show braiders that there are so many other things within this lane that you can do. You don't have to just stand behind a chair to make money. You don't have to just get on Instagram and post, and that's the only way you can obtain clients and things like that. It's so many other things you can do within the braiding lanes, and just kind of giving exposure to that. Because sometimes you could start with this and it could be good, but over time you might feel like, okay, it's something else or something more, and you don't know how to navigate that. And we essentially want to be the funnel of information for people.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So as we go a little bit deeper into the summit's mission, you've talked about wanting to change the conversation about braiders and how to help others grow their brands. But can you explain what that shift looks like in practice, and what things do you have in place to accomplish your mission?
Yeah. I feel like we're around essentially around the conversation, shifting the conversation around braiding. As we said, like braiding, even though braiding has been around for centuries, they have braid shops. This is a business that isn't new. I believe that during COVID shared a huge light on the
Hmm.
braiding community, and everybody was getting braids. Everybody wanted to get their hair done. It kind of give with social media, connected with that, it shows that this is a big market, this is a lucrative market. But like you said, it's you don't have to go to school to be a braider. So there is no real teaching or guidance behind how you should dress, how you should sanitize, how to speak to clients, how to retain clients. So what that have created, it created this market that you have so many people can enter without no education, with no guardianship, and can essentially make all this money. So what that have brought about is like conversations where people feel like braiders are unprofessional, braiders are not
Educated.
so much money, but they're not giving enough back. We want to change that. Or braiding your hair for certain workspaces is unprofessional. It doesn't look
Mm-hmm.
good. You can have it for certain events. So we want to change the tone around that. And essentially, we want to start with this event, and that's going to also lead to speaking to our mayors, speaking to jobs, and changing that tone around how they look at braiding and how it's professional. We want to have workshops to even broaden the minds of braiders to understand, okay, this is how to be professional. This is how to show up. This is how to retain your clients or speak to clients, giving them different tools and educations just to empower them that when they go into this world that they're navigating it a little better.
Yeah, because
Exactly.
Brad, just to piggyback off of what Jamie was saying, like a lot of people have talents and gifts and skills. But the misconception is that's enough. Like that's not enough to successfully run a business. So it really don't matter how talented you are or gifted you are, you still need just to acquire more information to be able to actually run a business and to run a profession and to build a brand. Like our first event was a networking event. However, we hosted it at a content studio. Why? Because you need marketing. You may need headshots. And because of the type of field that we're in, a lot of people don't think about it like that. They don't think, I'm a braider. Even if I'm home based and braid out of my home, what do I need headshots for? Well, you need it for marketing. You need it, to post content.
Mm-hmm.
You need it to kind of get brand awareness. So it's just we want to just kind of open up the minds to a more business or professional tone around this industry.
Exactly. And a lot of people too, they find that like that's the one thing, or I'm a braider, or I do hair, that's all I need to know. But now you need to know so much more. And like you said, you need headshots, you need a presence, you are the brand. People aren't going to say, oh, well, I'm coming because of that braid, maybe, but usually it's because of the person who's doing it, or
Yeah.
they get to know that person. And say the community is very important. So when creating a community for braiders, what makes the Braid Summit unique in the way it serves the braiding community? How have members responded, and have you learned from them? So from the members community, I think you guys have already touched on it already. And why is the Braid Summit necessary?
Well, the Braid Summit, first question, the Braid Summit is unique because I mean it's one of its kind. It's first of its kind.
Mm-hmm.
Like we said, when we speak on these hair shows, which is what most people are acquainted with. It's geared around teaching you how to braid, or geared around teaching you how to style. We're not trying to teach you how to braid, because a lot of people already have the talent, and the talent is something you can acquire on your own. You can watch a YouTube video, you can practice, and you will get better, But like Tia said, you can have a talent or a skill, but that doesn't mean or guarantee you will be successful in business. We are here to help guide you into being successful when it comes to business. We're
Yes.
here to show you how to get that money, and not just have that money, but how you can multiply it, what other revenues you can add it into, what other fields you can go into, how to retain these clients, and how to just grow your business more and more over time. Because what happens is, you start, and when something is new, it's amazing. Everybody wants to support you, everybody want to be on board. But after a couple years, it's kind of like, okay, where's the growth? And braiding hair is starting to be a saturated business, because everybody's starting to see that it's lucrative, and everybody want to be a part of it. So what's
Mm-hmm.
going to help you stand out? What's going to help you look different to your competitors? That's kind of what we essentially are here to help you with.
Yeah.
And like, I'm
Oh, go
sorry.
ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Tia.
I was
Yeah.
just going to say, like, the aesthetic of everything we present is next level. Like, the aesthetic of everything that we present is luxury, is high class. And like I said, moving us away from the conversation of like unprofessionalism, and even words like ghetto. Because when you're talking about brazenness, saying it is not appropriate for certain situations, we feel like if it is presented a little bit differently, um, to say that it is inclusive to that as well, then that changes the conversation and changes the tone. What we're doing is we're we're giving braiders a space where not only are they learning regular things about marketing and branding, but we're also talking about financial services. What do you do with your LLC after you get it? How are you
Mhm.
getting grants? Are you trying to fund your business on your own? Are your clientele your only source of income? Well, what can you do outside of that, and just to move the pin that way?
And also, they're excited for this space, because it's also a space. It's nothing like coming into a space where you feel as though, because essentially in a business where, like right now, it's slow season, you have, if you're a braider on your own and you don't have friends like me, I don't have entrepreneur friends, I don't have friends in my field. If you're not around or networking or connecting with other, you essentially feel as though you're a failure. When your business gets slow, you will feel unproductive. Like, what do I do? How do I maneuver? But when you have more information, more guardianship, when things like this happen, you're like, okay, slow season, this is what I can be
Ahead
doing,
of time.
this is what I
Yeah.
can be prepping for. I know it's slow right now, but in like 2 weeks it's going to get really busy. How do I prep for that? How do I maneuver around that? How do I promote my business so that I do get clients for these 2 weeks that are coming up, and I am visible for them? So just things like that.
Yeah, and that's exactly it, because a lot of times most people in business, they'll promote when they're slow. They don't promote when they're busy. Promote when you're busy, you'll get the people in for when you're slow. But
Yeah.
people are like, I'm slow, now I'm going to put out the money. So number one, you don't have the funds coming in, plus now you're putting more funds out, sort of thing. And a lot of people think that all they really need is their talent. And that's not necessarily true. But I mean, with the talent versus business skills, Tia said that, a business can't succeed on talent alone. So what specific business skills or lessons have you learned with growing your own businesses and the Braid Summit?
One thing like structure, time management, some type of order is absolutely necessary. I'm at a point now where my schedule is booking out months ahead of time. And in order to be able to do that and keep it where my clients don't feel like it's an inconvenience to have to book me out months at a time, they have
Mhm.
to know that the type of structure that my business is going to present. I'm dealing with appointment times. I'm dealing with setting a level of customer service that I feel like needs to be, just kind of talked about and hit on in this industry. And so just something as small as that, learning how to structure your business, or learning how to keep your books, what I'm
Mhm.
making and what I'm putting out. setting goals and projections like you would do with anything else, because you would think that you don't have the power to do that in this business, because you would think that it's seemingly kind of happens as it happens. And it is something that you can structure. It is something that you can actually kind of maintain and determine by setting goals. So it's just like those little things around just, maintaining my business has helped it so far along the way that even speaking with other braiders is just like, well, you're hurting right now because you don't have a structure in place. You don't have any kind of foundation to go off of. And it's just to give that kind of information.
Yeah, and most people, as I say, they, it's if you don't, what is it, the saying, if you don't plan, if you fail to plan, then your plan will fail, something like that.
Yeah.
Fail to plan to fail, sort of thing. So with so many people getting into it, so Jamie, what advice for aspiring entrepreneurs? So what would you say to someone who feels stuck in their 9 to 5, but they aren't sure they're ready to make the leap like you did?
I would say be proactive. Be proactive and understand that when you want to do something, it is between you and God or whoever you believe in. Your dreams or your aspirations are for you. You cannot listen to other people, what they think and what would be better. All you can do is look out for the information and be proactive. Prepare yourself as much as possible for what it is you say that you want to do or what it is you want to have. If you know you want to be a braider, work on your skills first thing. Make sure you work on your skill set as much as you can. Make sure you go to webinars. Make sure you connect with other braiders, because that help you in times when you feel like you're low, or in times when you feel like you don't know where to go, what information to have. When you have a community surrounding you that really takes you the long way.
Exactly. And too, because you mentioned is say God, or like, so the role of faith in your journey. So for both of you, how has your faith guided you in moments of uncertainty or difficulty? Are there particular practices or perspectives that you rely on? So what do you do when you don't know what to do?
For me, my religion and my faith is the biggest thing. I always say I believe being an entrepreneur is like believing in God. Like you sometimes you don't
Yeah.
see the evidence, you don't know how something's gonna happen, but you literally have to keep moving as if you have it. You have to keep going. You have to prepare yourself as if you have a booked out client. You have
Yeah.
to prepare yourself as if you're going to wake up 8 a.m. in the morning and be busy, because sometimes your books could be for me, sometimes my books could be empty and slow, and then I
Mhm.
wake up and I have people reaching out, or I go to sleep and then it's like book 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 book. But if I didn't follow the procedures to be busy, once those people come, I'm confused, I don't know what to do. And how
Yeah.
you prepare yourself is make sure you have inventory. Make sure that you have a routine in your life that you do, because sometimes being an entrepreneur seems like a lot of freedom and free time. So you want to have that. You
We
want to
all know, yeah.
have
You know.
some form of routine in your
Yeah.
life so that you don't just feel so helpless or hopeless. And for me, I pray. I pray over my business. I pray over when I get into work at times. I will pray in my shop over it. I pray at home. I make sure to go to church essentially maybe every other Sunday or every Sunday. It's really important to me because I feel like you need strong faith to be an entrepreneur.
Yes.
You can essentially be doing everything right. You can be doing this, doing that, and sometimes it just seems like there is no progress. It seems like what's going on? But before you know it, you're gonna be so far up. You're gonna be like, "Oh wow, wait, what happened? I just."
Mhm. And it really is, to say, a leap of faith or blind faith, or because, and you can't, and say, or if you meditate in the morning or things like that, meditate on the word. But with God, basically, it's you go and I'll follow. So if you're not ready to jump and have total faith and total trust, and then God will give you more,
Yes,
basically, on those principles, and not just give it to me. And then if you give me this, I'll do this. That
yeah,
never works. Because soon as you get it, you leave God out of the equation.
Because
So
Yeah.
us,
once, and if God has, and that's to say, like the 11th hour, you're like, there's nobody in my book. What am I gonna do next morning? Boom, 3 5 clients are calling out of the blue. So and so recommended me. This, this happened, that happened. And as I say, as long as you're dependent and have a faith and keep a humble heart, or keep humility, which I think is important, and not say I have so much talent, I'm so great, I'm always going to be wonderful, and everybody in town's going to come only to me. Like
Right.
that's obviously unrealistic. So what's your take on it, Tia?
I mean, because that's exactly what faith is, us
Hmm.
believing without seeing. And I know for me personally in my own journey, um, it was literally what got us started, because I didn't have a plan. I didn't know what was to come. And it's gotten me this far. So a lot of the times when when I am having moments of doubt, I remind myself of all of the times it worked when I didn't know that it would work, or I didn't know how it would work. And that keeps me going. And because I feel like I've seen people do it. And if I've seen anybody accomplish it, then I can accomplish it too. And that's just kind of some things that just run my life on.
Hmm.
Some of the things that just keep me going. So if I can see that anybody else has accomplished it, at the moment I may not know exactly how, but I believe I can because it's been done. Like it's not impossible.
Exactly. And sometimes the plan is different than what you expect. This is how it's going to flow. And yes, it's great to have systems. And as I say, but you still have to be, even though it's constructive, you still have to add an essence of flexibility, because say you never know. So speaking of that, what's next for the Braid Summit? So I know you have an event coming up. I'll get you to share that. So you share any future plans or visions for the Braid Summit, and how do you hope it will continue to impact the braiding community? So let's kind of talk about your next event coming up.
I think Tia might be frozen. Okay, well,
Yeah.
event coming up, the
Good.
Braid Summit. It is going to be January 20th, 2025. We are so, 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 so excited. This is the me event. This event is going to gear towards educating. It's really geared towards a niche, which is just braiding for braiders focus. We're going to be speaking on our taxes. We're going to be speaking on our business plans. We're going to be speaking on how to retain clients. We're going to be speaking on sanitations. We're going to be speaking on what next. We're going to just expand the conversations around business, your banking and your accounting and things like that. So we're really, really excited for this event coming up. We're looking to essentially have 150 people in the building for this event. Our tickets are around 70 to 150. So yeah, we're really excited for this.
Yeah, because your pricing's great, and to get all that content, and to get even just a networking or learning from other people in the community, and say, "Hey, I've gone through the program. Hey, I did some training. This is what the Braid Summit did for me." I think it's nice, and that's a really nice number of people, because
Yeah.
if you get something too huge, you don't have community anymore. I don't find, because you can't really get a chance to sit and chat with people, or fully absorb all the information, or do any of that kind of stuff. We may have lost Tia, I don't know, but if she comes back on, we'll pop her in. But
Yeah.
sort of thing. So again, it's January 20th, 2025. And then where can they find the Braid Summit? So
So
um, if
on
they're looking online, where can they find more information on the event?
Yes, we're on Instagram at the Braid Summit. We're also on Facebook. We're on every social media sites. We also have a website as well. When you go on our social media platforms, the link will be in the bio, where you can get way more information on the Braid Summit, who we are, what our purpose is, how to support us, our events, and when they will be happening.
Oh, perfect. So, is there anything that I haven't asked you, so we're about to wrap up. It's like I could talk on for forever because this is so exciting for me. And say even though you say business, you say numbers, and people are like, oh, numbers, I don't want to do it. It can be exciting when you see those numbers grow. It
Yeah.
can be exciting, and when you know kind of how to do it. So, is there anything I haven't asked that you would like to share with our audience?
Well, I know you asked about the essentially what would be to look forward to. Outside of this event, our goal for the Braid Summit is to have about a good 3 events a year. So we want to have an event for teaching, and we also want to have a networking event in between so that the community can connect, people can lean onto each other, share information and things like that, and potentially collab, because that's really what essentially help your business grow, is collabing, connecting with other people, not just in the braiding field, because the networking events are not just for braiders. They are for other entrepreneurs, from photographers, from even engineers,
Mhm.
people that might even be in the workforce that could essentially help your business grow in different areas.
Exactly. And say even connecting with a photographer, they could do some shots of your
Yeah.
work. They can do your headshots for promotional stuff or for branding or, as I say, if it's not something you're strong in, go and find those people or just collab or just reach out. The worst thing they can say is no. But
Oh,
but even though if they say no, it might open that door for somebody else who's better aligned
yes.
with your mission sort of thing.
Yeah.
So is there anybody that you would like to give a shout out to?
Who do I want to give a shout out
Yeah.
to? Okay, shout out to my mom. Shout out to my dad. No, no.
It's
Um,
okay, and shout out to anybody you like. You have the floor.
shout out to this.
Maybe we'll get Tia back on, and then, we'll do another one, but
Shout
yeah.
out our business partner Terry. She's not on today, but Terry is a really, really big and instrumental part as to growing and establishing this Braid Summit. So shout out to her. Thank you for all your support. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you. We'll say thank you to Tia, who may or may not come back on, and Jamie for being on today's Hairstylist Empowerment Podcast. So, again, where can people contact you if they want to contact you personally or contact you online, or what are the best like social media handles to find you?
The best social media handle again for me, I am on Instagram. My handle is right in here, Slay by Molan _black. I have a TikTok, I have a Facebook as well. I also have a website that you can check out for all the services that I offer if you are interested in booking me at any point. Um, I am also located at Salantra Select Suites in the Catonsville area. So I'm everywhere. Check me out.
Exactly. I just have a question pop in my head. How important do you think social media is for braiders?
Social media is very essential, especially in this day and time. I know that they have older braiders that are used to word to mouth and books and things like that, which is also great and amazing. But braids, the prices has even increased. You know how services, the styles have really changed dramatically. And there's a huge audience out there of younger girls that are in college or girls that are in school who you're going to want to market to, because that is a big market. They have their own jobs now, they want to be cute. So social media is really the best platform for it. It helps kind of separate you as well, because people will go on there to look for braiders, they will go over there to look for work. And the great thing about social media, it showcases everything you do already. It showcases your style, your talent, and how you work. And it just helps people make a more indecisive decision before they even reach out to you. They know, like, okay, this is who I want to spend my money with. So it's a great, great, great platform. I always say I don't know how people ran successful businesses before social media, but I don't have to do
Yeah.
it.
Now everybody, I think it's essential because I think now everybody that's what they do. They creep your Facebook profile, they check you out even before they go in. It's not like the old days where you go in blindly and hopefully it's good because there was no way to really put out before social media unless you ran ads or things like that. Nobody could really see you're working, who's there, what kind of stuff you do. So our last question as we wrap up, what's a nugget of gold or message you would like to leave our audience?
Oh, wow, a nugget of gold. Oh Lord.
It could be on anything.
You
Doesn't
know,
have to be business, could be life, could be anything.
honestly, what I would say for anything in life, I think this has been my biggest go to is It's just start. You know, whatever it is, it could be a job, it could be a education that you want to take, it could be, I don't know, a class on how to paint. I don't know, anything that you want to do with your life, just start. Don't focus on what you have. Don't focus on, if you tell yourself, I need to have this thing and then I'm going to start this thing, you're never going to begin. You're never going to start. So just start, and everything that you need will literally flow and will literally be accessible as you continue to grow.
Yeah, and that's perfect because everybody wants to wait for the right timing. When this happens, when I have this, when I have that. No, it's like you just have to, like you say, go out, take that leap of faith, and just kind of, do it sort of thing. So today's episode has been brought to you by Beauty Industry Cruises, powerful education in beautiful destinations. You are invited to join our upcoming featured best deal Black Friday sale. Inside cabins, only $49 in taxes and fees. So that includes your cabin, your basic beverages, meals, and entertainment. So this is part of the Beauty Industry Cruise Signature Social Series. It's a 2-night in the Western Caribbean from Palm Beach, and that's happening January 13th to 15th. So it's not overlapping your event, where your event's on the 20th. And then, so it's family friendly, and it's on the Margaritaville at Sea Paradise. So all cabins are booked through myself. And let's just take a video.
Discover a new way to enhance your beauty career with our exclusive Beauty Industry Cruises. Imagine learning from top industry experts while sailing through breathtaking destinations. Our cruises offer hands-on workshops, inspirational talks, and the latest trends in beauty. Network with fellow beauty professionals, all while enjoying luxurious amenities and stunning views. Join us for an unforgettable experience that combines powerful education with beautiful destinations. Elevate your skills, grow your network, and create lasting memories. Don't miss out on this unique opportunity. Book your spot on the Beauty Industry Cruise today.
So there's new cruises from Miami, New York, Port Canaveral, Texas, Amsterdam, Athens, UK, Jacksonville, and coming soon, Baltimore. So they've just added a 2026 14-day Hawaiian from Long Beach, Los Angeles. So there's events that you can look at anywhere from 2 days to 14 days from now, 2024 to 2027. And you can connect there at www.beautyindustrycruises.com or on IG at Beauty Industry Cruises. So if you have an idea for a show or would like to be a guest, you can email me at Hairstylist Empowerment Podcast at outlook.com. So everybody remember to get up, dress up, show up wonderfully and powerfully, and I'll see you next time.